Hello everybody, welcome back. This is assessment 2 for program development, and here we are in program development. You will find an assessment submission template here, and the assessment submission template will walk you through the assessment. Let me show it to you. It's open here. So the assessment submission template for this assessment, it's quite big, so there's a lot for you to complete. So I recommend that you download this and complete this because it's quite important. This is due in week 6. There's 1,000 words to 500, 1,500 words. You don't have to write a lot, but let's talk about what this is. I'm going to open up the question here. You're to plan and develop an event or program in response to the need identified in assessment 1. So you'll have identified a few needs, I'd imagine, and you develop the plan to put this on that includes an actual simulated event. So you can do a simulated program in which will be implemented in assessment 2B. So this assessment 2A during week 6. So you're planning here. This is a big planning document. So you've got to identify one program or event you can implement that will fulfill a key objective that you've described in assessment 1. So what's one program? So if you've identified that your client group need access to clean clothing because they're homeless, how will you meet that need? You might do something like arrange for vouchers for them to go to a laundrette and to get clean clothes from the Salvation Army. And that's your program, and your program is to deliver them vouchers to access, for example, something simple like that. Again, let me advise you, keep this very, very, very simple because there's an awful lot of processes you have to get on top of. The more complex your program is, the larger it is, the more people you've got to talk to, the more evidence you have to collect, because if you're going to say that you surveyed your clients, you need to provide a copy of the survey. If you put a program up, a flyer advertising the program that you're going to deliver, you have to show us what the flyer is, and that'll be part of the week 10 portfolio of evidence. But in the meantime, identify some information on one program or event that will fulfill the key need. What key resources are you planning? So you have to estimate costs on this and estimate each aspect of the cost. You're going to need travel costs. You're going to need to hire a room. You're going to need to fund anything. You're going to buy equipment. This can be hypothetical as well. So you're going to get in-kind resources. In-kind resources where people give them to you in kind, meaning you will do something back for them as a kind of favor. A sponsorship, if you like. Now, where are you going to get the finances, resources? Who's going to approve that? You can't just magic money out of the air. You have to find someone who will pay for that. What resources, you've got to identify what resources you've got, including human resources, you know. What do you have facilities? Do you have equipment? Do you have room? Do you have a space to complete your program? Do you have are you using unused resources in the organization so the program doesn't cost you anything? How are you going to staff the program that you're running? And have you got staff there? Have you got transport? All sorts of different logistical issues. So what resources have you got? But mostly, don't forget human resources, that you have other staff who work for the organization. Are you going to put them in key roles in your plan? Who are the key stakeholders? Now, everyone else forgets key stakeholders. The number one stakeholder in any situation you write is your client group. Who are the key stakeholders? The client group. Other stakeholders will be workers, and they might be people related to the client. Say, for example, an employer of the client, they might be a stakeholder, or families of the client will be stakeholders. But the key stakeholder is your client and you as a primary service provider, and then other people involved in the program. Identify any legal considerations that you will have in relation to doing this program. So legally, what's the obligations here? So if you're going to go and take people horse riding, Do you have to get insurance liability provisions sorted out before you can take them? Do they need guardianship approval to go out or to attend something? The approvals both internally and externally, who are you going to need approval from? How are you going to get that? You're going to meet with people, you're going to get them to sign a consent form. If so, you'll have to show us the consent form. You'll have to include that as part of your evidence. So make sure that you're following that. And who's going to be responsible for doing those jobs as well? As you keep coming up with these jobs, then you're going to need to fulfill, later on we'll look at this, an action plan. I'll show you all the appendices you must provide, and they're visual things. Do not try and write this by hand. I advise you to use the assessment submission document that is provided for you, because everything's laid out, whereas otherwise you have to make your own document and it'll have to meet standards. How are you going to evaluate this program, the success of the program? So let's say you have decided to get people, young people, a big brother buddy program in order to help them when they're isolated and they don't have a family and maybe they're being bullied, and you get them a big brother buddy program. How are you going to evaluate whether that was successful or not? You're going to survey the client. How do you feel about that? You're going to survey people who are involved. What are the logistics? Who are the people? Let's say you're running an event and you've got food and catering. You can survey the caterers to say, how did it go for you? Was it okay? Was it cost effective, not cost effective? Did something run out, etc., etc. And that evaluation would be across everything. You have to evaluate every aspect, where you have to evaluate the success of the program in meeting the needs of the clients. If you want to provide vouchers for clients to go to a laundrette to wash their clothes, you have to evaluate how many vouchers were given away and how did the clients respond when you surveyed them. They used it often, not at all, rarely, sometimes. And you know what? Even if you got negative information on this, that doesn't matter to us. Only that you've completed the process. Even if you failed miserably and your program was utterly bad, and it said everything failed, it all went wrong, I'm terrible, you still get a pass on this course. So don't worry about that. You just have to document where things happened or they didn't happen. So is there an evacuation plan that, an evaluation plan that lists all the key objectives? So the key objectives in every type of area, we just talked about that. How will you ensure accessibility to all clients? Is there wheelchair access? Are all people able to utilize all the resources available and even understand the nature of the program? Is it for people with disabilities who might have a difficult time trying to understand what you're talking about? How will you ensure, how will you continue to consult? So again, we talked about this for, and you can literally cut and paste from assessment 1 in here. What's your consultation plan with the clients in the service? So how often will you consult with the clients to make sure, check in and monitor that your program is working effectively? And now you have to prepare a reconciled budget to implement your program. So you have to write the budget. And then create an action plan on who needs to do what and when. You'll need to do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, where you identify the strengths of the program, the weaknesses for the program idea, opportunities that you might have for developing something else, and threats that you have to those opportunities if things don't work out. And that's how you evaluate as well, because the SWOT will also be part of the evaluation process in this. So let's have a look at the template, because I think this is going to help you. So this is planning an event or program. You are to plan, develop an event or program, 1,000 to 1,500 words minimum. Okay, identify a program or event and talk about what needed. I got a laundry program to address the problem of our clients not having clean clothes when they need them. That'll be enough, okay? You can just write simple sentences. You don't write 1,000 words. No one's going to come after your blood and go, you only write 899 words. That's not going to be, if they're 899 right words, no one cares. Dot points are your friend. We love dot points here. What are the key resources you're going to need? List those. These can be extended, by the way. You can extend this table simply by inserting rows below. Look, there you go. You can increase the table. You can add numbers to the table as well. So we have a look over here. Easy to add some numbers to the table there. We say it's easy, but obviously a bit sticky. So there, you can add and increase the information available here. List the resources you already have. What are the existing resources to help with the plan, including, again, human resources? Remember, talk about the roles of people, very important. Key stakeholders, who is the client group? Who are you? Who are the other people who are involved? You and the client are the two key stakeholders. Other people might also be key, but it depends. Identify any legal considerations, insurance liability we talked about. Any approvals you need? Do you need a signed parental form, guardianship form? Do you need people to sign a form saying they're aware of the risks and that they're willing to accept the risks of going down the beach and maybe dying if they're adults for themselves? Here's the communications plan that we talked about. Sorry, an evaluation plan. So you're going to objective evaluate the participation in the program. So evaluate the addressing the needs of the clients in the program. What are the strategies you're going to do? I'm going to evaluate with a survey. I'm going to evaluate with a face-to-face meeting. What are the milestones that you have regular evaluation periods? So you're evaluating each step of the process. So what are the milestones? Milestone might be week 1, getting people to come to the meeting. Week 5, people taking part in the program. Week 7, people giving feedback on the program that you've implemented, for example. Data collection methodologies you can use: surveys, questionnaires, face-to-face, incidental, that sort of thing. Online polling, that sort of thing. The impact or outcome indicators. So if the clients are saying that they're very happy, they've got clean clothes and they got the ability to wash their clothes when they need them and it's free, we consider that a great outcome. But if they're saying, look, you've provided the service but no one's using it, and so they're still in the same dirty state, outcome indicators, not very good, are they? But it doesn't matter. That will not mean you failed. If you write that down as being a standard that you would follow, then hopefully you get to understand what's going on here. And what are the outcomes? And well, hopefully we want people to be able to access clean clothes for the period of time they're supported by your organization, right? So something like that. How will you ensure accessibility? So wheelchair ramps for parks, that sort of thing. Only getting vouchers for laundrettes where there's wheelchair access or where there's written information, or there isn't written information. For maybe there's pictorial information if somebody's illiterate, for example, or has a foreign language situation where they only speak a little bit of English. So how do you continue to consult with the client? Talk about the consultations plan. Here's your SWOT analysis here. What are the strengths of the program? What's a good thing about it? What are the weaknesses? How could it fall down? How could your program actually fail to work properly? Can you perceive how that might happen? What are the opportunities? If this works, if the strengths work and the weaknesses don't break down the program too much, what are the opportunities you've got to stabilize communities, that sort of thing? And what are the threats you have to your service? Quite a lot of stuff here. And as a reconciled budget here, you have to write a budget. So by all means, write in the amounts, write down specific information about who gave you what. Again, you can extend this. All you've got to do, again, select this, insert. There you go, we've added a couple there, so you can insert. And then there's a Gantt chart, for example, or a plan below for the action plan. So in order to make this happen, you have to list everything you need to do. So call the manager, get approvals from the manager, call the clients, make an agreement for the clients, design the plan, write the plan, send the flyers out. You have to write, what's the action? Who's going to do it? How long have they got to do it? What are the communicate by email, phone, face-to-face? And is there any training that's required to enable that action plan to occur? And that's pretty much, but that'll be a lot. So again, a lot more of selecting the table and then actually acting upon it with evaluating the program with the correct evaluation tools, etc. Okay, so that'll kind of bring us to the end of complete this document. If you do not provide these things like SWOTs or these tables or the budget, or these things are not included, you'll be asked to resubmit. These things are very, very important. So please, by all means, don't just not do something or do it and go, well, I'll do it anyway I want to do it. I'm afraid that won't be acceptable. You need to either download the appendices from the website, and we can have a look at that here. We go to the website, there are appendices at the end of each of the submission templates. Actually, they're not, they are actually just the Zoom submission templates. So that's the one thing you're going to have to use, okay? All right. Good luck, everybody, and we'll be back to talk to you about the implementation of this program in week 10. Take care. Thanks for your time. Bye.